Today we are going to be working on some electrical stuff.
We've got a combination. Got all sorts of electrical blocks, fuse holders, ACR, fuses, and a whole bunch of bolts to tie it all together. This is the first step in getting our batteries hooked up and configured correctly. As our start bank is not connected to our house bank when we're sitting at shore power. And what happens is our shore power, we're charged up fine on start battery, but the shore power or the house battery gets nothing until we start up, unless we switch our battery switch to all. And if we're sitting on the dock for a week, I don't want full power going to the house. So what I'm going to be doing when we replace all the batteries, this is just the first step of getting the blocks and everything together. Then I can measure the wires that we need, the length that we need, and then get the batteries and put the batteries in. So the first step is the ACR is going to connect from the start to the house battery. So basically once it senses that the start batteries charge up, it will connect through and start charging the house batteries. Installed one of these before with no fusing. This time I'm reading instructions and doing it properly, which means I need a fuse block on either side of it with 150 amp fuses, number 2 gauge wire, which once I know the sizing I'll be able to get that. And on the other end, when I get to my house, because I've got so many connections, on the old battery there were, on the battery posts, there were 4 different cables connected to the battery posts. And they were all corroded and probably not good connections. So what I'm doing is putting in a bus bar for the negative and the positive, and I'm going to have 4 or 5 going to the positive. I think 3, maybe 4 going to the negative, because the windlass comes off of here as well. And the ACR will go to the positive bus bar, and then it will go out and charge the batteries, come back through the negative side. Also on the ACR, there's 2 other things that I'm connecting, which is why I need the fuse holder. One is a ground from this, and the other is a start switch, because it does a start isolator built in. So I'll also be running a wire from this up to the ignition switch when we go to start. There is a third one that I can put on here, which this is going to be under the floorboard. So there's a green LED that goes on when it's actually charging. But there's another line where I can connect this with an LED remote, connect it up to a battery and have it up where we can see it on the control panel. So I'll know when it's going when we're on shore or charging through the engine alternator. Next step is to pull up floorboards and see where I'm going to mount things. Step 1, taking out stairs. Next step is to figure out where I put all the attachments, all the pieces that I'm going to be connecting the battery cables to. So we've got everything open and cleaned now because it's quite dirty. Now, part of the fun is I'm just trying to find out space for my positive bus bar, my negative bus bar, and I want to reuse the existing cabling as much as I can that's there. For example, the windlass one will come back. I don't want to have to try to splice that. Likewise, the battery from the battery 2 switch for the house comes here. So have a look down here.
Go.
So what I'm looking at is this battery will be replaced, but this cable coming in is going to my battery switch. This is my windlass. So I'm thinking I can mount this positive block here, and this one I've got a little bit of give so I can come around and connect to that post. This one's long enough to reach, and there's enough holes here so that I can get my ACR wire over, and I can also get my positive post from here over to there. So this is a nice little place for the positive post to go. Now the negative side, this big gray one is the negative, and it's also got some stretch, so I'm thinking it's going to go over right under here. With it being there, the negative from my windlass can come to it, and the negative from the other end of the batteries can come to it, so it's kind of all isolated over there. So not too bad from that perspective. Next is the ACR, which is back over the other side. Here's the ACR, and this compartment, we've got some cables running through it, of course some unknown wires going somewhere, but what I can do, there's a nice place here. Based on what I'm seeing, there's no other wires running through here, so it's safe to put this in. So I can put the ACR here, and my two fuse blocks, which need to go on either side of the ACR for safety. One can go in here and one on the other side. Once that's there, I just connect. There we go. I'll be able to connect my coming into the house battery, which is right there, or sorry, the start battery, which is right there, into here. Short cable here to the ACR, and this one will come to the other fuse, and then that will come out through this hole and go over to the positive block that I just showed over there. I'll do all this, and then I can do measurements for, you know, length that I need for wires and everything, because that'll be the next step. So I got everything marked here so that it's kind of equidistant. And I'll be able to do the cable lengths. But first things first, drilling holes in my boat. First two done. I'll screw that in before I do the bottom two and the others. Ready to install the positive block.
Bus bar.
Bus bar, yes, thank you, bus bar. Positive bus bar. Negative bus bar is going to go over there. Before I could do this, I needed to measure and make sure everything would fit. I rerouted the negative cable, which was coming in through here, up to where I'm going to have that one. It fits. Positive coming in, I had to carve out a little bit so that it will make a nice graceful curve along the block. And now I'm going to install this block.
Bus bar.
Bus bar, yes. It's a bus bar block. It's a connector block. So we'll install this one, and I can at least get things measured and understand what I need from that point. Always tight fit on a boat. So, bus bar is in, and this will very nicely come and connect to either one of those. There we go. Very nicely connect to that, or that, or that. So, excellent. One more bus bar to go, and then measuring for lengths of battery cable that I need.